Alfred will be back to his old self soon. That evening, after they had finished eating and the children had been put to bed, they sat around the kitchen table. Mrs. Lovett bore the heavy look of one who is struggling with many contradictory thoughts at once. "You put your own appetites ahead of your children's happiness?" Mrs. Lovett asked her at length. Alma felt like she had been slapped. "Why do you have to put it like that? It makes me sound like I'm greedy, that I eat all the food while they have none." Mrs. Lovett drew straight in her chair. This gesture made Alma feel that she really was selfish. "Alfred has a responsibility, but he cannot be expected to support another man's children," Mrs. Lovett said. She had meant to say it kindly, Alma knew, but it had come out sounding mean. Alma stared at the tabletop, the oilcloth with its drab pattern. She felt it a strange remove, as though this were all taking place somewhere far away, and what they were discussing had little to do with her. "Will I have to go to court, Mother?" Alfred asked. He couldn't disguise the panic in his voice. "It would serve you right if you did," his mother told him. Alma had never felt so alone. She knew how people would think of her. Alfred had picked her up in a park, a public place. She had moved into Empire Street, dependent on the charity of Alfred and his mother. There was already stigma in that. Now this. Alfred had made no move to comfort her. He looked too guilty even to meet her eyes. Mrs. Lovett propped her elbows on the table. "I thought that if Alfred gave you a ring, it might make things easier." "Easier? Easier for her? For Alfred? For me?" Alma held up her left hand. "I'm already wearing a ring. It is the ring my husband gave me. I meant if Alfred gave you a ring, it would be like a promise to marry you. It might be more acceptable to people." "Well, I don't see how that would change one single thing," Alma replied. "Anyway, divorces take years, don't they?" Mrs. Lovett rested her puffy hand on the table next to her empty teacup. The kettle was on the boil, filling the kitchen with steam, but none of them got up to take it off. "Well, people are fools, and there's nothing more certain than that," Mrs. Lovett told her. "Doubtless some tongues will be wagging, but with a bit of luck, they'll get tired and stop." Then she added, "It's just that it might be better if you kept out of sight." "Out of sight?" Alma asked. "But I have children to walk to school and clothes to hang on the line. Do you really think you can hide me away?" "Then at least be discreet. I would not like to have the neighbours think you shameless." Mrs. Lovett spoke in a severe tone Alma had never heard her take before. "Shameless? I can assure you, I feel very much ashamed. You cannot imagine how much it would pain me to see our family's disgrace on public display." She thought she knew Mrs. Lovett. Now, suddenly, Mrs. Lovett was like another person. A divorce would free her to marry Alfred, but where was she going to find one of those? Alma's greatest fear was that welfare would take away her children. The decree nisi and decree absolute would be invoked, the grounds of adultery or cruelty or desertion, the things she read about in the Argus. All those questions. Whose desertion? Whose adultery? Whose cruelty? Would have to be answered in public and decided by a judge who had to be called Your Worship, and barristers, she had heard, cost £50. The mysterious way in which an ordinary woman became a co-respondent. That's why Alma could not offer Alfred the respectability he craved. What kept her awake that night was the prospect of having to go to court and all their names appearing in the newspapers. Everyone would know the truth about her. Even if she did somehow manage to get a divorce, Alfred would not be one step closer to marrying her. Any day now, she felt, Mrs. Lovett would sit her down and ask her to leave the house. Alma and the children would be alone again, penniless.